All right. Happy March 15th. It is a sunny, crisp 20-something degrees. Too cold. It is too cold today. Is what it is. Today we have a lively conversation in celebration of Women's History Month. Should be a fun time. If you have things you would like us to talk about ever, please let us know. But first, we're just going to start with introductions. How are we? How are we taking care of ourselves right now? This is the start of week 5 of spring term. So I don't know about everyone else, but I have definitely been go, 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 and not a lot of stuff to see how I feel. So we're going to talk a little bit about that too. But my name is Fonda Keenan. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm the coordinator of civic engagement here, so I am up on the 4th floor of here. And how are we? I'm doing okay. I'm cold. I was really excited about the warm weather last week, and this is a little soul crushing. I'm really excited. I was talking to Ryan. I really love to run. I like to be running, and that is the way I take care of myself. So it's a little hard to feel motivated to do that when it's this cold. We'll see. I'm going to challenge myself to do that when I get home today. If it's not below 20 degrees. So we'll see what the weather is like at 5. But who would like to take it away? Who are you? How are you doing? What are you doing to take care of yourself?
I'm happy to go next. Hi, everyone. These are let's go, she, her pronouns, systems are different diversity, inclusion, and belonging. I'm doing well. The sun is shining today, which is like a rarity. And yeah, I mean, when the sun's shining, like I'm shining, right? At least I hope so. But yeah, taking care of myself. Let's see. I got a chance to visit a friend this weekend who lives about 45 minutes away. So that was really nice to spend some time in the community. And yeah, just like go to Target. Like that really did it for me.
How many candles did you come home with?
0, surprisingly. Surprisingly, I only bought a black one singular.
When you spend time in Target, that's what.
Right.
Really
I mean, it was like 20 minutes before they closed because we didn't want like a lot of people there, but it was good nonetheless. How about you?
Sounds fun. My name is Ray Benscott. My pronouns are he, him, his. I'm the assistant director of student engagement here at Hartwick, and I am doing good. You know, it's Monday. It's a cold one, so you know, I feel like Mondays will often will hold a lot of colors, right? For the rest of the week. So yeah, I'm going and.
Right. Thanks, Ryan. Good morning. I'm Ryan Harrington, Health Promotion Coordinator. I use he, him pronouns. I am up on the 4th floor with these lovely people as well. I am doing pretty well. I'm having a mix of emotions these last couple of weeks. I feel a little overwhelmed, a little overworked, a little under-rested, you know, the usual for getting toward the middle of the semester, but remembering the things that really inspire me and equal me out. Physical activity, taking walks outside, despite the cold weather, getting that natural vitamin D from the sunlight. One thing that did lighten my burden on my shoulders was getting my first vaccine shot on Friday. It was actually really an emotional experience. I actually teared up when I sat down in the 15-minute waiting area.
Me too.
Because I just felt like things were changing. And I actually felt a literal weight coming off my shoulders a little bit that, all right, we can do this for a little bit longer. 3 more weeks, I get the second one, and then more people are getting the vaccine, and more people. It's just really nice to have something to look forward to in terms of the pandemic. So we're making our way.
Thanks for sharing that, Ryan. I know when I saw the first headline of the first person getting vaccinated in the US, I like burst into tears. It's my breakfast in December. I think it's a reminder of the weight that we carry on a daily basis. And so that's why it's so important to remember to take care of ourselves, because that's constantly with us, right? And I'm so glad that you got to get your first vaccine shot. So today is a break day. Yay. Woo!
School's out.
Unfortunately, school is not out for summer yet. Who sang that song? I'm gonna play that on repeat our last day of class. So it's a break day. So there are lots of events today. I know this is happening. I'm hosting an event with Ray later called Munch and Learn, where you can get a box of Girl Scout cookies for engaging with some educational material around Girl Scouts and girls and young women's leadership, housing and homelessness. So it'll be a good time. But what else is happening today?
Today, Ryan and I
Yes.
partnered up and we're doing a women's health promotion tabling, where you'll get to learn a little bit about some of the kind of things that come up for college-age women, and some signs and symptoms to kind of look out for. And then, do you want us to talk about later this week as well? So later this week, DIB is going to be hosting a few different events that all of them need to find in our partnering. But I want to shout one out in particular. We're going to be having a time management workshop. 4-week grades came out, wanting to kind of recenter, refocus, figure out what do folks need to move forward. And we're giving away some dope giveaways. I mean, iPad, AirPod, Beats. Like, hello, why would you not want to be there?
It's that participate.
It's that, no, sorry, Sarah. But I mean, if you're a staff member and need time management help, you can come too.
Yeah, that sounds like fun stuff. Yeah, so it is going to be a fairly busy week. Talking to events going on. Like Wanda said, we'll be doing the tabling for Munch and Learn to learn more about women in leadership. Later on tonight, we're going to be doing Big Prize Bingo, both in Johnstone and virtually. Then on Wednesday, we're going to be doing a lot of like St. Patrick's Day stuff, giving out shamrock shakes as well as a Dropkick Murphys concert later on Wednesday. We're also going to be giving out jackets, so I'm super excited.
A jacket.
Oh yeah, very nice, high quality Hardwick branded jackets. So and in the fruit. So you'll.
And they're great for springtime,
Oh yeah,
which
absolutely.
is coming.
Oh yeah.
If it's free, it's for me.
So lots of great food at the concert. It'll be streamed to your stack. So yeah, a lot of great stuff. And then Friday, we're having a spoken word artist, Gabriela Garcia Medina, also here in stack. So it'll be a good time. A lot of fun stuff.
Super exciting. Ryan, anything to add?
Yes, the health promotions area is quite busy as well right now. Trying to educate, but also trying to give people opportunities to remember to stay well, even though things are looking up in terms of the pandemic. We're consistently reminding students specifically, we understand that St. Patrick's Day is coming up, and you may celebrate. If you do choose to celebrate, we're just continuously reminding people to celebrate safely, wearing masks, staying 6 feet apart, not going to crowded places such as house parties, bars, and really just sticking with your group of people that you spend the time with, your roommates and your housemates. So today, although it's break day, the Campbell Fitness Center is still open for people to utilize from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Our normal hours will resume starting tomorrow. Today, Sora and I are doing that also women's health event, which would be great to spend time with students, educating them about the importance of women's health. Tomorrow, Heidi and our peer health educator Greta will be tabling to talk about alcohol education. just to remind people how to safely celebrate with alcohol. That'll be from noon to 1:30 outside of the Commons. Wednesday, we're offering green drink at the Campbell Fitness Center for everybody who comes and works out on Wednesday on St. Patrick's Day. They will walk away with a green naked juice for their participation. Yeah, very young. So thank you, Ray, for that idea and that support. And then Wednesday, for faculty and staff, Heidi and I are kicking off a March into Wellness on Wellness Wednesdays campaign.
Say that 3 times fast.
I can barely say it once slowly, Fonda. Thank you. No
It's
test.
not for your benefit, it's for my benefit.
Okay, that's it. March into Wellness on Wellness Wednesdays. March into Wellness on Wellness Wednesdays. March into Wellness on Wellness Wednesdays. I almost got it.
Great job. Good job.
Just for you. So for the next 4 weeks, Heidi and I will be offering a 45-minute wellness program over Zoom, of course, for now. Regarding 4 different areas of wellness. This week will be focused on physical wellness. So how can we as faculty and staff continue to take care of our physical wellness when we're so busy and we have so many responsibilities, not only at work, but outside of work, right? So just some really simple and effective ways to move our bodies in small spaces, in our offices, or around our neighborhoods. So Heidi and I are really looking forward to kicking that off this week.
Very exciting. Well, as you can see, it's a very busy week here at Park College. So hopefully you can jump into some fun events, maybe win some super awesome prizes, iPads, seats, etc. I know I would be jumping on top of that. And what I appreciate about the green juice is that the naked green juice does not taste like grapes. And that it tastes like, I'm pretty sure it tastes like mango, if I remember it correctly. So I would highly recommend jumping on that as well. I might come down and run a mile on the treadmill just for free naked juice. But I'll think about it. But today, our favorite segment, What's the Tea? We're going to be talking about it's Women's History Month, y'all. We're halfway through. It's an exciting time. And so International Women's Day was on March 8th. So hopefully you celebrated in some way, shape, or form. And today we're going to be talking about women who inspire us, both in pop culture, in our personal lives. If you've been keeping up with pop culture and you saw the Grammys were last night, women showed up at the Grammys last night, y'all.
As they should, yes.
Absolutely. Beyonce came away with her 28th Grammy.
Yes, queen.
The queen bee. I mean, somebody posted a picture of her and Megan Thee Stallion on the same stage, and we're like, Black women, just God bless.
Right, and a great conversation to be had. Like, people are starting to talk about like the music of Megan Thee Stallion and Beyonce and the cultural movement of women being allowed to be sexual as fourth wave feminism. And so a whole conversation we had about that would be really, really awesome, I think. But Beyonce came away with her 28th Grammy, so she is now the woman who holds the most Grammy awards. There in other categories, Billie Eilish came away with Title of the Year, Song of the Year. Taylor Swift won Album of the Year. And there was another one that I was really excited about, but I'm totally forgetting. But anyway, women in music this year, fantastic, but also women in other areas, fantastic. So our first question for What's the Tea today is, women in pop culture, artists, actors, etc., who are you all about right now and why?
I mean, I'm always about Beyonce, but y'all already know that.
I'm doing a really poor job of keeping up with what's happening in the world, to be honest. And the only thing, it feels silly because there's so much more important things happening. I think the election was really important with a female, woman of color president. But one thing that stood out in my mind is I recently watched the documentary about Britney Spears and her conservatorship, right? And it's less about Britney Spears to me and more about how women are portrayed and treated in Hollywood, right? And how they're made to be these people who may not align with who they want to be, right? And who their artistry, who they want, how they want their artistry to be portrayed. And the biggest takeaway for me in that documentary had to do with how controlling that industry can be and how different it is, how different that industry treats women versus men.
And specifically the control of men over women in that.
Yes, yes. So that's really, I'm not keeping up with current events because Britney Spears really isn't all that current, but that's who I sort of follow, keep up with. And that's really what I got for that one.
So, just piggybacking on what, I personally don't follow a lot of pop culture, almost none. And so I didn't watch the Grammys. I don't really follow a lot of music, but over the weekend, I did, I was, reading and watching the news and the case of Sarah Everard in London sort of came up. And apparently it was a recent case in London, I think maybe a couple of weeks ago, where a woman was walking home on her own business, and allegedly they arrested, but he allegedly this officer kidnapped this woman. And so it obviously super depressing, but there's now protests, large scale protesting all over England, especially London, really fighting against the culture of England, taking a look at what possesses a man to feel like right or privileged to just see a woman, kidnap her, and talk to this
Well, and I think both what you and Ryan brought up, right, about the control over women and the entitlement that men feel is a really good reminder. I read a really excellent article in, I think it was in the New York Times, but I'm forgetting, about how in the last decade, while there have been many advances in women's rights over the past 50 years, specifically for white women, but there have been advances in women's rights and tangible ones, right? So there's still, for example, there's still a wage gap, but you have seen it get smaller. And while these tangible things have been occurring for women's rights, that as soon as policy happens, we can't just pretend like everything is done. And in the last decade, this article was arguing that feminism in many ways and shapes and forms, or women's rights advocacy, has been very much left out of policy and very much more an interpersonal conversation. When we know that because women are an oppressed group, they're a marginalized group, and there is historic oppression of women, that you do need, that you both have the interpersonal, the cultural, and systemic change that has to occur. And so while we have made these great strides in some of the economic policies that require employers to pay men and women the same for the same job, we know that doesn't always happen, but that is the law.
It definitely always doesn't happen.
It just, yeah, definitely doesn't. But that we need to start bringing these conversations out of just interpersonal. So this isn't just a conversation that I have with my brothers when, for example, at one point my brother used the term, what do you say? I remember having a conversation with him because he was talking about one of his teammates. He was on the wrestling team for high school at the time, and he's like, "Oh, well, so and so was just being like a crying little girl or something like that." And so he's like, "Well, actually, we kind of talk about why you're supposed to use that language. Like that's being interpersonal." But the larger, and those conversations do happen, and I witness those conversations happen. But I think the stories that both you and Ryan told bring up the larger conversation that needs to be happening in terms of systemic oppression and what still needs to occur outside of that interpersonal, those interpersonal conversations.
Right, it's this idea of like, yes, we need to be having these smaller conversations in our communities, with our families and friends and whatnot. And also, like, we need to be having the bigger context conversation around the systems, right? Like, these are all, like, everything that we do is created and done because of systems, right? We learn based on systems. And so, that's I've been thinking a lot about Breonna Taylor, specifically with the last, the anniversary of her murder, the last week. And so, yeah, I've just been thinking a lot about that and how, like, I don't know, just like how, like, folks, were just so shocked at what happened. And like, it was like one of those, like I wasn't, right? So we're thinking a lot about that. And then I recently saw, I don't know if any of you know, her name is Jeannie Mai. She is one of the co-hosts on the show The Real, really awesome Asian woman. And she has a YouTube channel where she does like a lot of videos and stuff like that. More recently, her and her mom got into a really bad argument, and so I think it's like 3 or 4 videos that kind of talks about it, and then one, like you can see them like arguing, like it's recorded and stuff, and then in the other one, they have a therapist like come on and talk to them about it, and it was just so interesting, specifically with the therapist, like they really got to, like, what happened was like very surface, right? Like, I think it was about like, Jeannie didn't want outside people to like come to like their engagement dinner. Her mom really wanted her friends to come to the engagement dinner. They talked about it, right? So like COVID closed, but like the underlying issues was about like being heard and feeling heard and like feeling seen. And then like on her mom's side, it was about like Jeannie like getting angry and like feeling like she was perpetuating like how like the mom sees herself as like angry. So it was like so interesting to see how like I don't know, just like things on the surface maybe seem as like a certain way, but like when you actually get into deeper the root of it, it's so much deeper. That's why I preach therapy. Because listen, therapy is so needed anymore. But yeah, that she's like kind of pop culture, so I thought that made sense as I recently saw it.
She was on Dancing with the Stars last season.
She was, yeah, and then she got like sick or something.
Yeah, she had to.
Yeah.
Appendicitis.
Something like that.
Possibly, or gallbladder.
Yeah.
But she was a favorite to win.
Yeah, she's awesome. I really like her.
I wasn't familiar with that, so that's cool. And I think like super cool. I think having conversations with parents is hard because there's so much weight and history there. I think especially as someone planning a wedding currently, like parents and in-laws have a very different idea. Like they're like, oh, well, this is what a wedding is. And so when it comes to some of those things that are often very steeped in tradition, especially for women involved in wedding planning, it can be really hard to toe that line of, well, you're not actually listening to what I'm saying, but also you're my mom or my mother-in-law or insert parent here, but like it can get messy really fast. But super cool, and then I think an excellent example of do therapy. Bring in a mediator. Mediators are great. Big fan. So I was gonna talk about someone who's like culturally relevant, but not currently very in pop culture. So I am not the cook in my house. I'm the dishwasher, because I don't cook. And when I do the dishes every night, or most nights, I do cook stuff. I switch through music, and so I will usually play like a full album, like clean the kitchen. And I have like a half album that I kind of rotate through. And one of the ones that I rotate through is Janelle Monáe's most recent album,
Oh
Dirty
my
Computer,
God,
which is freaking incredible.
I just have to say, if you've never seen Janelle Monáe perform live,
Watch
When
last
the
year's
world-
Oscars.
opens up, I need you to have that experience for yourself. It is incredible.
There's so many levels in which I love her, right? Like just purely as a performer and an artist, the amount of talent that this woman has blows like incredible. And like people can't, most artists can't sing live. Janelle Monáe can sing live.
Because sing, dance, everything like.
All of it. All of it. And I've always loved her music, but she was on that one song with the band that's no longer relevant, a long time ago. Was it Fun? Yeah, that's how I discovered her. I think that's probably how a lot of people discovered her. But she makes incredible music and also like incredibly culturally relevant music, right? Everything on her album is commentary on current events, on current culture. She talks very openly about being a queer Black woman and what that means, and is very much, you know, at the beginning I was talking about how, you know, like Beyonce and Megan Thee Stallion, for example, very much this movement of sexuality in women is okay, and here I am, and here it is. And Janelle Monáe is in that same movement, right? Just a different music sound, usually. But I was listening to that album earlier this week, and I was like, this is so powerful. It's so powerful, and all of her albums are like that, and they're so unique. And I don't know about y'all, but I've been getting the little like videos on like Instagram ads for whatever her next project is. I can't wait. But highly recommend going and listening to that album. Or at least watching her Oscar performance. Because that was incredible.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one. I don't know if I've watched it.
Yeah, highly recommend. She openly talks about like, so in that one she talks about the lack of representation in the Oscar nominations as well while she's performing. Well, also like paying homage to some of the artists that ended up winning that night. It's really incredible. Highly recommend. I think it's like 8 minutes long. It's a little shorter than the whole thing, the whole album, but really great performance. Really great performance.
I mean, you're selling it. I'm here for it.
I love her.
I've actually never heard of her, so I won't. I'm intrigued.
Oh, you
will love
would
her.
love.
Does Peloton need to do a?
Oh,
Janelle Monáe ride?
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I was gonna say, Ryan, I feel like I'm surprised that you haven't listened to her, because I'm like, wow, Ryan would love her.
That's where I've been getting a lot of my new music is through my Peloton rides. I'm like, ooh, who's that? Ooh, now I'm that under my Spotify.
Oh my God. But no, she reminds me that I should own womanhood, just own my stuff, you know? It's a big sign. But my second question for our segment is, who is a woman or a girl in your life who you would like to give a shout out to today?
I'll start things off. So, that is a good question. I would have to say, like, the first one that always comes to my mind when asked, who would I want to give a shout out to? My inspiration. I think that when I think of an example of an immigrant coming to this country, served this country for 25+ years, dedicated to when I think that responsibility and duty, so absolutely
I love that. Yeah, I feel like anytime someone asks about inspiration and female role models, I tend to go toward my mom, which she's such a beautiful person. She had me really young. She was 18 when I was born. And I can't imagine, I look back to when I was 18 and I think about how irresponsibly responsible I was. And how I couldn't imagine also being irresponsibly responsible for a life, right? So I think it's amazing that my mom was able to manage what she managed as a parent, being a young parent. But not only her, but anybody in my life who has embodied those motherly tendencies, I think are really inspirational to me. I think part of who I am as an adult man is built by all the strong, supportive, and involved women in my life. So when I was born, my aunts were both relatively young. My one aunt's only 11 years older than me. And then I had a grandmother. So I was raised by 4 women. And then I have a stepmom who came into my life around age 2 or 3. And I just think about how all 5 or 6 of them have just given me support and how each of them holds a different role in my life. And so to answer your question, I think any woman who's really had a hand in raising me from birth until now, because I still am impacted by strong women in my life. My kids have 2 moms, and their moms are very influential in my life. They really help me understand relationships. They help me understand long-term romantic relationships and what it takes to raise young girls. It's just so amazing to be surrounded by so much love, support, compassion, and I always like to tell people that despite how you're raised, you don't necessarily always need a male influence and a female influence in your life as parenting, because I'm a product of being raised almost my entire life by women.
Also, just forget that heteronormative BS
Right, exactly.
all around.
Exactly.
There's so many.
I know.
Like, I could literally list, it would be like a CVS receipt roll. Like,
It's hard.
just so
With
long.
coupons.
Right, with coupons. I mean, obviously besides my mother, it's like the queen. I have a great friend, named Vega, who is awesome, and I feel like just both supports me and reels me in from my like I can go off the deep end. And so I'm just like really appreciative of our friendship and just like how we support each other and like check in with each other and you know, have you eaten today? Like how you take care of yourself? And yeah, it's been a really good a good time. And I feel like especially like during quarantine, like especially during the thick of quarantine, like we really hang out with each other. So yeah, so we got to know each other like really good way back then. It's a fun time. I feel like also someone always up for an adventure, so that's my kind of vibe.
I know who Sarah's talking about, and I just second everything. Someone in my life who I wanted to talk about was, I have a very young cousin. She's 9. Her name is Maple. And I had such an incredible conversation with her a few weeks ago. Just like very mundane, but that was like such a nice reminder to like stop and like slow down. And I am always just super impressed when I talk to children because they have all of these coping mechanisms, but they don't know our coping mechanisms yet for just like experiencing the world as it's coming to them. And so we had like a 25-minute conversation about her current Lego creation. And it was, I found myself like so relaxed after talking to her. So I was like, wow, I just spent 25 minutes talking about Legos. That is like so outside, that's outside my to-do list, it's outside my life to-do list, it's outside of work. And it was just so much like she's like, well, I'm currently building a swimming pool. And the way she makes her swimming pool is to differentiate, this is the funny thing, to differentiate between the deep end and the shallow end, she rips off the heads and puts them in the deep end, so it looks like they're fully submerged versus just half of their courses, which I think is incredible.
Absolutely.
But she really inspired me to like stop and slow down and just be imaginative and have fun in the middle of my work week. And it was really wonderful. So I'm just shout out people for the girl in my life who just inspires me.
Into the future.
Agreed.
Like,
Oh, absolutely.
especially like this day and age, yeah, like there's so much that they know that like I have no idea about. And at that age, like I feel like they're just going up something. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My girls recently, they're 12. And we were recently talking about relationships in middle school, right? Because they don't go physically to the school.
Oh God.
But they're at that age where it starts to come out where people are dating each other, they're
That's
experimenting.
the team.
Yeah, right? It is the team. And my girls are convinced that they're not interested in anybody. So I'm like, oh, well, is there anything, are any of your friends dating anyone? Like, it's just a really fun conversation good to have with your own kids. And they are just so open and honest, and the kids in 8th grade are dating. There are kids that are out as bisexual. There are kids out as gay, and it's only on to New York. And we just need to have this conversation about how important it is to love who you love. And they just get it. It's normal to them. And maybe that's because of our family structure and who we are as parents. But we talk with their friends too when they're around, and they're all just comfortable. It's normal for all to hear about these different types of relationships. So I'm completely right.
That's incredible. That was truly incredible. And like, I don't want to totally dismiss like the work that like our generation did to make that a conversation that could happen in public schools, right? Because I know like I didn't have that as a middle schooler. And granted, I was in South Carolina for middle school. But that is that's really inspiring. Thank you for sharing that.
It's fine for you to share.
Oh, sure. Well, we're toward the end of our time, so very briefly, it will be warm next week.
I hope so.
It will be.
It will be warm next week. What are you going to do as soon as it is warm?
Outdoor runs.
Awesome.
I'm trying to do one a week anyway, no matter what the temperature is, but now, once it gets warm consistently, I'll be out 2 to 3 times. Because I'm a morning workout person, so it has to be in the high 30s for me to be comfortable running multiple days.
High 30.
Just to make sure the fluid in your, like, you know, the natural fluid in your like respiratory system isn't freezing.
Exactly.
Oh my
So
God.
outdoor running, that's my plan.
Sounds pretty good. I can't wait until it's like in the 60s and don't have alcohol like that.
Yes.
With all of us, of course.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I'll make you a bee's knees, don't worry.
Oh,
I don't know what that is.
That sounds sweet and tasty.
I have a bar bill.
I have Bartle too.
Oh, I tried.
I mean, yeah, I love, summer is my favorite time of the year. I actually don't like winter at all. But here we are in the Northeast. So I'm excited about it. But like my favorites are like cool nights. Like it was like warm during the day and then like a cool night where you could like have a bonfire. Nothing like it. It's so great. So I'm excited for another bonfire.
I'm really excited for consistent warm weather because I have a gardening patch this year. And I am planning, I already dropped some seeds that you're supposed to drop, and I planted some bulbs in the fall, so I want them to come up, but I have sunflower seeds, I have lavender seeds, I'm gonna get pansies and do like a little walkway up to my porch. I'm really excited to start gardening. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Maybe this summer we have to do a HawkTalks crib edition.
Oh,
Where we go to each of our houses and show off what we've been doing in the warm weather. We got a balcony, we've got gardening, got making drinks, we
Oh, yeah.
got a little patio out back.
Do the people know what MTV Cribs is though?
Probably not.
do you know
Audience.
what MTV Cribs is?
The audience out there. Dad, do you know what MTV Cribs is? Do you know what MTV Cribs? Okay,
Okay,
that's good enough. Thank you.
all right. Well, on that note,
So, actually, what we're talking about, like what, the young people know, I mentioned, Dropkick Murphys.
Yes.
because I was, talking on a meeting, Dropkick Murphys concert, and, a student said, what is that? Oh, I figured, okay, like, they haven't, seen or heard of it, and I was like, oh, it's, that I don't know how to explain it. So, and that-
am I old? Ray, are you calling me old?
no, like honestly, because I know what it is.
Yeah.
I know what that is.
Right. Do you have no Red Sox fans on HHTAB?
Apparently not.
That is incredibly disheartening.
Like,
Kids
it
these
feels
days.
so.
We're in New York, it's about the Yankees.
I can't say what I want to say about the Yankees as a Red Sox fan, but
I think you just said it all.
I have strong feelings about the Yankees.
Strong romantic feelings.
Absolutely not. Okay, so last anecdote before we go.
There it is.
My partner grew up in New York. Is fairly apathetic about baseball, but I bought tickets to a Red Sox Yankees game in the new Yankee Stadium, which I will allow is absolutely gorgeous, and I will go to more baseball games there. It took the people sitting behind us all of 8 minutes of sitting there to realize I was a Red Sox fan, and y'all, the funniest heckling of my life, that entire baseball game. But it's all like it's fun, right? Like there's something, I love baseball, we'll talk about baseball the whole, all day long. The best part is the Red Sox lost that game like 11-3. It was truly horrible, but a great experience. But I do love my Red Sox. The Dropkick Murphys, great Irish American pop punk band. So come check it out on Wednesday evening for St. Patrick's Day. They do a live performance in Boston every year. And this year, as well as last year, it will be fully remote. So I will be streaming it live in my living room while cooking. I am cooking a full boiled dinner, but it's not boiled because I own seasoning. And so it will all be roasted. It won't be boiled, but I will be cooking my full roasted St. Patrick's Day dinner, watching Dropkick Murphy. So I hope that y'all will join me by being here in Stockholm.
I know, let's go ahead, Ray. I know we haven't made this a formal segment yet, but every show we have, fun facts with Bonda come out.
Fun facts with Bonda. I love Irish
Now we know
punk.
that you love Irish punk and you love baseball.
I do love baseball, and Cooperstown is only 30 minutes away.
Exactly.
But all right, y'all. Another successful HawkTalks show. Thanks for signing on, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
See ya.